and welcome to the next tutorial. Today we're going to be making this. And you guys are probably wondering, why would I want to make any of this? Well, that's because this is the beginning of making your own flexible dragon. I know, that's amazing. So the reason I have these three different types is because maybe there are more, but I'm going to show you 3 different ways to connect the dragon to itself. That way it prints in place without any supports, and you can have options when you're designing your dragon. Now, this right here is what I've seen dragons most typically use for their design. And let me show you what it looks like here. I know you can't really see it, but this right here is the bottom, and there's a donut shape that goes around this way. And if you look here, you can see a little bit better. There's a donut shape going that way. So one donut going this way and another one going that way. And then there's the decoration. This one here, it reminds me of a toy, because I've seen toys designed this way, and not that complicated, but let me show you what that looks like in a design. See how it's just straight up and down and this thing's hooked up to it like that? That is another way of doing it. And this last one, I have not seen a single person do it this way. I just designed it. And we'll talk about that when I'm trying to talk to you about what is in here, and then you guys can play with it all you want. Anyways, let's start with the first one. We're going to call this the donut design. Let's go ahead and drag this over here, front and center. Okay, how do we design this? Actually, I think I made it too close. So let me just drag it over here. We're going to start with the base. Let me bring out the shapes. All right, I'm going to start with this. We're going to make this. This is already 20 by 20. And then we're going to go 5 as the height. Yay, that was super easy. Next, the torus, which looks a lot like a donut. And I'm going to increase the steps to the maximum. Or is it the sides? Oh, the sides. You know, increase the sides. Then I'm going to rotate this thing this way to 90. Again, I'm moving inside the circle. That way it goes in smaller increments, or actually larger increments. If I go on the outside, it's really close. And it won't stop at 90. I have to totally think about it. So over here, no thinking. It just goes where I want it to go. I'm going to click the letter D so that it barely touches the ground. That's where it's touching down. I'm going to use the arrow key to move this forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to move the donut to right there at the very edge so that the bottom of this is the corner there. Okay, perfect. Now, very important when you're designing something that doesn't need supports, you want to curve upward. You never just want to go straight out by itself in the midair. You want things to curve upwards. Now, I'm going to also take one of these, 17, and I believe 20 and 7. Okay, so I make it skinnier. That's fine. So I'm going to use one of these. I'm going to rotate. Where's the editor? There it is. Again, going inside the circle. Need this to be 7. Enter. And I believe I kept the 20 if I remember correctly. And the height, 17. Okay. And that doesn't look like 20 in here. Yeah, but it is 20. All right, great. I'm going to put that right there. Over here, it is in the middle of the donut. I'm going to click the letter D. There it is. And there you go. You see this? Very similar to that. There's a little more space here. Okay, great. Now, the other donut. Let me just drag this one over here. The shape is going to be the same. I'm just going to increase the sides right there. You know what? At this point, let's align these things. Okay. I'm going to click the letter L. And I want it to be straight going this way. So I'm going to click on that one right there. Okay, they're all aligned. That's perfect. Okay, now, very important part here. I'm going to move this up. And you would think that this should be fine right here. Like, hey, this is all going to connect. This is awesome. But no, that is not the case. See, if the printer we're just printing this thing, and it's like printing one layer, another layer, another layer. As soon as it got here, it would print and start falling down because there's nothing underneath it. there are ways around this, but for our design, the easiest thing we can do is rotate this up. Now I'm going to go outside the circle, outside this circle right here. Do you guys see that blue circle? That way I can adjust it slowly. And let's do, let's try 15. Okay, 15. So there's this. Now, how far does it go here? I want you to look over here. You see how that looks? I'm just going to move the arrows and a little bit more. That might be too much. I'm going to change this right here to the snap grid to 0.1. That way I can move it slowly, and that looks about right. Okay, so we're good so far. Okay, we're going to start with the outer shell right here. And I'm going to hit Shift and drag this over to about 30. What's the height here? Let's make it 35. Okay, 35. And let's make this one 30. All right, that's not bad. Now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to drop this down to about there, and let's see how it, whoa, it's going crazy. Let me control it better this way. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to measure it against this, and that's pretty accurate, although I want it to be more accurate. So let me get this back in here. All right. I don't want it to be bigger than this because it really will affect the final design. Okay, let's make this 27. So let's go ahead and see what our final numbers look like. Let's go back over here. Okay, our final numbers for this design are going to be 35 across, 27 in this direction, and then 35 up here. I'm going to drag this down. Let's drag it down 5 millimeters. Sure, that looks good. Let's see if that's accurate here. No, for this one, oh, it's so much easier to move this. Oh, wow. All right, let's see. It looks like we just moved it about 4 millimeters. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of the bottom part with the box. Now this box is 20 by 20 by 20, so I'm going to move it down, and if you notice here, I can just go -20, and it goes automatically down. Now I just need to make sure it covers all of the base. There we go. I'm going to group these two. I'm going to hit Control G, and there we go. We got rid of that part. Now I'm going to duplicate this by hitting Control and D, duplicate. With the arrow key, I'm going to move it this direction, and then make it a hole. If I do this, it's going to get rid of most of it. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the Shift button, and I'm going to move it down from 20 to, let's make it 18. Let's see what that looks like. Whoa, not nearly enough. Let's go down to 16. Okay. Why isn't that enough? Let me move the arrow key. Oh my goodness, did I do the wrong thing over here? I did. I clicked on the wrong one. I want this one. Sorry, guess I shouldn't have that in the background. This is the one. Make sure you're clicking on that one on the edge right there. Okay, now I'm going to go from 25. Let's see. Okay. All right, that's not bad, but I want a little bit more. So I went from 25 something to 23. Now pay attention to this one, because if you were to do this right now, your bottom would not work at all. I'm going to group just these two. Oh wait, yeah. I'm going to group these two, and then I'm going to hit level or click the letter L. You can also hit the shortcut right here. Sorry, this one, align. I'm going to click align, and I want these two to be aligned in the center. See how now there's something at the bottom? Okay, so we're good now. And let me see, I'm going to click the letter T and the outside and show me where it's going to, all right, that's not bad. So click the letter T again. Now we can group these two. I'm going to select both of them, Control G. And there we go. We have our shell. Okay. Now I'm going to click the letter T because I want to see through this. The T, I believe, stands for transparent. So I'm going to hit Shift and drag this over here to be much faster. All right, so let's drag both of these out here. Now, in the original, you see that it barely sticks out a little bit. Over here, it sticks out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the dimensions here to 25. And what do I think? Does that look good? I like the way it looks, but I don't like the way this looks. Luckily, you can change. Oh, you know what? This is the problem. It's not centered. So let me make sure we're centered before we start playing with any other dimensions. Click the letter L, and I want them to be aligned in this direction. So I'm going to click this, and that looks much better. You're not going to see this sphere, half sphere. So there's a little bit. I'm not sure if you get. Let me click on the letter T so you can see a little bit sticking out there. So I'm just going to click this and then move the arrow key back a little bit so you can't see to the right. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to click the letter T. Now, before you just start printing these, very important, you also need to make sure that the bottom is taken out. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to click the letter. Actually, I don't need to change that. I'll just use this right here. I'm going to make it a whole by clicking the letter H or this button right there. I want to get rid of most of this right here. Because if you don't, it's going to get in the way when you're trying to build them together and be flexible. So I'm going to click on this right here and the outer shell. Control G. All right, that's what I want. Okay, so now I'm going to try to group this one and this one together. Let's see what happens. This donut or torus should go in there without touching anything else. So let's see, I'm going to select all these. I'm going to use the arrow key, shift and arrow, because I changed it. Okay. Now, the goal is for nothing to be touching. So let's see. Nothing's touching here. The bottom is not touching to this bottom. This donut is not touching anything here. And let's look over here. These are not touching. This is the way it could work. You can create a series of these and you can decorate them. Now, I've seen decorations that look a little bit like this. They're moved down a little bit to make it look more like scales of a dragon. And you would rotate them and then you would put them on here. And I'll make a tutorial on the best way to decorate these so that you don't need any supports. That's not the point of this tutorial. But you can try printing this if this is the kind you want to make. But we're done with this section. Before we go on, actually, let me show you the benefits of this. If you design it this way, this will be able to rotate both left and right and up and down because the rings allow for more movement in either direction. The only thing that will be stopping you is this shell. This shell is going to prevent this shell from going any further. And if there's nothing underneath, this will actually go straight down and hang until the donut touches that thing. Okay, so one of the benefits, I've seen this used a lot, and again, no supports, and that's exactly what we want when we're printing these, because can you imagine trying to print a dragon and you got to get rid of all those little tiny supports on every single piece of the dragon? I don't think so. Not cool. All right, here's the next one. This next one, I'm going to start off with, again, with the half circle. Let's go ahead and rotate it. And let's go... Let's see. Let's click the letter D for right now. Actually, let's just go ahead. Let's keep it like this for now, but we're going to need to increase. I'm going to hit Shift and increase this to, let's say, 30. Did I say 30? 25. Let's go with 25. I'm going to click 25 here, Enter. All right, but we need this to stick out more. So right now it's at 12. Let's make this 20 and see what that looks like. All right, well, that's not bad. It's not ideal, though. I'm not sure I like that. Yeah, too much. Let's go 15. Say 15, great. Now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to, drop a block here because I want to get rid of that bottom part. Like I said last time, you want to get rid of the bottom part, so you want this to go down. Actually, let's move it over here so we can see what we're doing. All right, you want this to go down. So you click on that and you put -20. We're good. This is going to cut it off at the bottom. I'm going to select both of them, Control G, or you can group over here. Now I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, move it over here. And then I'm going to click on just that part right there, hit Shift, move it down to about 18. And yeah, 18 is good. Now I'm going to align these two. So I'm going to select both of these, click the letter L or this shortcut right here. And I want them to align going up and down. Great. That looks great. So now I'm going to group these two. Control G. I got the beginning part of this thing right here. Great. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Now this one I'm also going to rotate, but I'm not going to get rid of any part of this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stretch this out to about, let's say 20. Wow. I know it seems like a lot, but let's play with this. See, this one has a separate issue. We're going to shrink this. We're going to shrink this down to, let's say 10 or 15. Let's try 15 first. And here's the issue, okay? Here's the issue. If you do not make this, oh wow, that's way off. Sorry, let's align it. I'm going to select both of them and I'm going to click align or the letter L. I want to align it in two directions. I want this to be in the center here, so that one. And then I want it to be aligned in this direction, there. And we'll leave it there for right now. This one should be the letter D for, I guess it's down, I don't know. Okay, that's not bad, but here's the thing. When this object is connecting to the object in front, you don't want this to be very low because it's going to touch the next one. And if these two are touching, it's not going to move. It'll be, excuse me, it'll be just a straight line. So you need this to be a certain height. So let's make it a little bit, sure, let's go 14. But then now we have to align again. I'm going to select both of them, click the letter L. And again, I want it to be aligned here. And was that it? Yeah. Okay. But now I got to move it down because it's right there. I don't want it right there. No, but that's better. Oh, I wonder why I didn't align the way I wanted to. I'm going to click the letter L again. I'm going to click on this first, then there. Oh, I know why. Because I no longer have the center here. So this is technically the center. So I'm just going to move it down manually. And here's what I'm looking at. When I'm aligning this, I'm like, I want to see that this right here is near like a center. See how here it's not the center of those lines? I want it to be at the center of those lines. It tells me it's aligned. Now I have some space at the bottom. Good. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to duplicate this one. Control D. Move it back a little bit. Make a hole out of it. And let's see, I'm going to move it a little bit more. Now I'm going to group those two. And it should, oh, my bad. I'm going to hit Control G. And now it should make a hole. Did I do that? Oh, no. Do you know why? I didn't select everything. I'm going to select everything now and then hit Control G. And that will group this one and the one in the front. There it is. Now we have one piece. Let's move this over here so we can see it better. Okay. Now I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, the whole thing. I'm going to move this back and let me hit Shift so it doesn't move. I'm going to click the letter T so you can see right through this. And now I'm going to use one of these cylinders, again, the sides, maximize those. I'm going to hit Shift and make this 5. It doesn't really matter, but now I'm going to let go of the Shift. I just want to make it tall. 20 is usually what I get here. And let's see if that fits there. That's too tall. So let me rotate here so I can see it better. I want this to be at the center, otherwise it's going to be a weird looking snake. All right, so I'm going to make this just a little bit so it fits under the thing. I'll make it a little bit shorter. I'm going to hit 18 and see what that looks like. It looks like it's too short. So 19. All right, this looks good so far. That'll be in there. This will be in here. Now, this cylinder is great for here, but it's not so great for over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. Oops, I guess I should go so I can see that. I'm going to duplicate just the cylinder. So Control D. Now without touching anything else, I'm going to hit Shift and then click on this thing, because now I know exactly where that hole is going to be. Now here's a rookie mistake. If you just make a hole right here at the tip of this piece, wrong one, sorry. If you make this into a hole and you click it, if you were to put these together and you print it, it would be one solid piece because there isn't enough clearance here. So we want to increase this. I'm going to hit Shift and then increase the size of this thing, because I want it to be able to move. So I'm going to group these two. I'm not sure if you saw how big it is now, but I went to 25. I'm going to group these two, Control G. And now I'm going to move it forward. Oops, the other forward. Okay, so now is it working? So far, we have to check, is this bottom part touching that part? It is not. It's cleared. Is the center bar touching anything? Nope. Looks like it's clear. So now this should work. So here you're only going to get movement left and right. Now for a snake, that's going to be great because we see snakes only move left and right for the most part. It's not going to go up and down. So meaning it's not going to be going this way, because this right here does not let it move very much. It'll move a little bit, but not very much. Now, again, this one you'd want to decorate so that part of this goes over this part, so you can't really see this part. And it looks like this. Oh, wrong one. Like this. In this one right here, you see that they put a little fin. There's some little bumps here, so you can't really tell that this is in beneath. It looks better like here, right? So that's how this works right there. All right, not bad. It looks a lot like a toy, which is why I called this the toy link. I know, but it works, and that's the important part. This will work. Let's move this out of the way, and now let's get to the last one because we're time. So let's go ahead and move this over here. Now, this one right here, I designed it because I like the idea of being able to connect these after you print them. And if one of them breaks, you can just print another one. But there's some downsides. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we want to do, all the dimensions, I believe, no, let's just go ahead. Let's get one of these things. Now, where are they? Where are they exactly? Let's go look over here, and this should be in the, was it electronics? I just did this yesterday. I can't believe I forgot where I got these. Structures and scenery? No. Anybody know where I got them? Anyone? Anyone? Vehicles and machines? Oh my goodness. Hardware. How did I not think of that first? Hardware. All right, so here's this one. Let's just rotate it so it's facing the other way. Perfect. And now, wait, is there something here? Looks like something's missing. Okay, and now this one right here, which is called, what is this called? Seated ball. Now the reason it's called seated ball is because I want you to see something. Under here, it's flat. It's designed to not have any supports, and that's exactly what we want. So I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but you cannot increase the size on this thing. It is set. So what you want is you wanted to drag it over here. Now on this one here, I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but this purple thing is at the edge of where this other shape is at its lowest point in the middle. So that's pretty much there. Let me align these two. Click the letter L. There, they're aligned. All right. So not bad, right? We're almost done. That's the great thing. This one is pretty easy to do. Let me drag it over here. Now all we need is a shell. Now I can tell you right now, I have not printed this one in particular, but this is way too small. So I would prefer a shell that's more like what we did over here. Let me duplicate this one and just, whoa, where'd it go? There it is. I'd want it more like this. So let me drag this out of the way. Oops, wrong one. Let me just drag this out of the way. Now, why would I want something this big? Because I want to cover this part right here. So let me check something. I'm going to check. Okay, so here, when you're designing this, when you are creating this, you cannot have anything down here. Nothing. So I'm going to undo this part right here. I'm going to make this bottom part just go far enough so that it clears this area here. I think we're good here. So I'm going to hit click here and this one and then Control G, or I could just click that one right there. Okay. Now the reason you don't want anything here is because this part of the ball joint is going to go in here. Now, if there's something down here, it will not go in there at all. So that's the beautiful part of this section right here, is that we're done. I can hit duplicate and I'll show you what it's going to look like. Sorry, I didn't do the right one. I'm going to select both of these, duplicate. Oh, I haven't grouped these yet. Control G. And then I'm going to hit T right there. Now I'm going to get rid of that so you can see this. Now that one, when it's together, it'll go in there. And the beauty of this thing is that you can print this separately. You can print it separately with no problem. And just like the other ones, you want to make sure that nothing is touching down here. Right? If you see this right here, none of this is touching any of that. Now here's the downside. This thing, the ball and the joint may be very loose or it might be very tight depending on your printer. The first time I printed one of these, the ball and the joint and this whole section would not move at all. Would not move at all. So what's the fun of having a snake that's perfectly stiff? Not good. So what I did was I put let me see if I can find these right here. Again, if you print this, which I totally recommend you print just 2, that way you know what it's going to look like. Right there. What I did was, let me make sure I increase the sides. I created a hole. Because you can't change the size, you can't do anything to this, but you can get parts of it out of the way. So what you want is to get rid of a little tiny bit on the inside to make it a little bit looser. And so I don't remember what number I put, but what you want to do, if when you print, they're too tight, you want to get rid of a little bit inside of this part. Now what you can do is try to measure it exactly to this ball and then increase it a little bit. In fact, let me just see if I can do that here. And then move it up. So something like that looks like a 10.3 all the way around. And then you put it in the very center of this. So you see how it turns gray right here? That's going to give it a little more space. All right, so that's the beauty. Again, when you connect these, you can print just one of them. You can alternate the color of your dragon so that you can say, oh, this part's going to be green, this is going to be dark green, this is going to be black, or this is going to be... You could just alternate the colors and then print them and put them on together. Theoretically, you could print this as big as you want and then have a bunch of them. But this is how the links are put together, the donut, the toy, and the ball and joint links. This is the beginning of our dragon project. So hope you enjoy. Have a good one. If you saw it this far, don't forget to raise your hand and say, dragons are kind of scary. Have a good day. I'll talk to you guys later.